All right, so my next jig is set up to make these face cuts. Flip it around. And these, and then also will be made to cut in the bottom rail some big, deeper cuts. So, what we have here is basically another sled for the table saw. And just as a little side note, I put wax underneath all my slides, and wow, that makes a huge difference. So just one of those little side tips. Okay, so basically I cannibalized a chop saw. I tried a couple other jigs that moved on your fence and you had to keep moving the fence every time that you had to make another cut. I've got a handful of different cuts and heights and all the adjustments, and it got a little bit confusing and would typically get to this point and then scrap a piece or two. So what we have built is another one of the slides, drawer slides, so that I can move this left and right pretty easy. I've got a little screw handle here to lock everything down. This surface here is where the face goes, and then I usually try and get the inside edge here. This is a nice square cut that spent a lot of time making sure that that's all clamped up perfect. So I have a full stop here to make sure that when the blade comes through, I don't go too far. I'm right on the blade right now. To get all of the adjustments just right, and I saw a guy on YouTube that had what he called his ultimate tenon jig. I think I got the ultimate tenon jig now. Just throwing that out there. So to make the adjustment, I have a little bit of a gap right here and a block that's mounted. Have all of these little blocks that are cut down and then sanded to the correct width, and you'll notice some of them have blue painter tape. That makes a really nice shim when you sand too far. So for each of the cuts that I need to make, I don't know if that's going to focus, have the blade where the dimension is, what cut it is. So it's really easy to drop a block in, and we're going to do the side rail. And this is the side rail top for the 3/4 inch wide. So I'm going to take my face, I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to put it into the jig, and we're going to clamp it in place. Now, how do I know how tall that tenon is? So I've raised my blade up all the way, and I can come in here, and yeah, I have a laser on it. Cannibalized from another saw, so I can raise the blade. I don't know if it's going to pick up, but the tips of the blade are just touching the laser, and I can slide it through. I'm the same height all the way through, so nothing has moved. So what I can do, since I'm cutting that 3/75, I can slide this down until the laser is basically in that slot. And if I go up past out of the slot, it's okay, but I'd rather go through and clean it up a little bit at the end. I can clamp it in, and it's all ready to go. So all the measurement, all the detail, height, width, everything, don't have to worry about. But we do have to worry about power. Huh. So basically what that got us was this vertical cut. Now, I don't really have to take this out. I can leave it in. I can locate my next cut, which is the face cut, 1/2 inch wide. And we'll pull that out. And we will find the side rail top block. Move over, put it in, tighten it down, and we are good to go. So that's really how it should turn out, and if you look, there's probably a little bit in there that I need to clean up with the chisel, but little details. Alright, now we're going to do the bottom the same way. Face inside. And this one will end up dropping all the way down. And I probably won't be able to get all the way in, but that's okay. It's going to give me the majority of the cut, and I can then take it over on the bandsaw, or you can use a handsaw or whatever to finish up the extra 1/4 inch that you need to go. And right, so that makes a really nice straight cut, and we'll clean these other little pieces up with the bandsaw, and our side piece is coming along. Alright, now using the same jig, we're going to get this joint to go into the bottom. Where are you? Down there. So using that same jig, we have 2 handy dandy little pieces, one to cut 1/2 inch on one side, one to cut 1/2 inch from the other side. That'll give me a 1/2 inch groove going down the middle, and then I'll just nibble out the rest with the saw. Alright, so the one little part that I omitted, we need to measure for the height. How deep is that going to come in here? So we have our 1/4 inch cut here. We have 3/16 for the detail. So we need one more 16th to go a 1/2 inch back. And again, that 1/2 inch is the dimension for our cut in the glass. Lost the piece. Okay, so here's our piece. This is where the glass is actually going to fit in. Here's our face, and if we come back here, we're 1/2 inch down and 1 inch deep. The 1 inch deep is the 5/8 for the glass, and then I'll have a 3/8 inch detail that'll go on the outside and then frame it around so that it secures the glass. So we're going to go ahead and cut. And I've made the mark on the back side, and then I just drop it until it's right lined up in the laser. Clamp it in place. and make our cuts. Alright, and if we're good, I know the height's, oh, if we're good, you ought to be able to put this joint in and just hear it, feel it. It should slip in, but still be snug enough that it's going to hang its own weight on there. So that is just what we needed in making these joints. Ooh.